Let us run a simulation. The date is January 2026. If you have a 401k, or if you own even one share of the S&P 500 in this scenario, listen very carefully. You are holding a grenade, and the pin is already loose. This is a fictional strategic simulation, not news, not a claim of real events. It is a model designed to explain power, incentives, and risk. Now, turn off the headlines. In this simulation, the media tells you the US Marines just liberated Venezuela. They show cheering crowds in Caracas. But in this model, that story is false. This is not a liberation. This is not even a war. This is a foreclosure. My name is Elias Vance. In this scenario, I play the role of a sovereign risk architect. My job is to model how an empire avoids bankruptcy, and how it might strip the copper wiring out of a neighbor's walls before the lights go out. What you're about to hear is the anatomy of a theoretical mission called Operation Absolute Resolve. It's the story of what happens when a country wakes up with $36 trillion in debt and decides the only way to pay the bill is to eat a nation. If your retirement fund survives this simulation, you're welcome. Here is how the model plays out. Before you send in the drones, you send in the lawyers. In this timeline, the invasion does not begin with a missile. It begins with a gavel. Wilmington, Delaware, room 4B. The target is not a bunker. It is Citgo Petroleum. Refineries, pipelines, gas stations, worth roughly $13 billion. In this model, it is the last functioning lung of the Venezuelan state. The court introduces a doctrine called alter ego. Here is what that means in plain English. Normally, a government and its state oil company are legally separate. If a president owes money, creditors cannot seize the national oil company. That protection is called the corporate veil. In this simulation, the judge removes it. He rules that the government is the company. Translation: everything is for sale. Then comes the auction. A Canadian firm bids 7.4, fair market value. But the court awards the asset to a shell company backed by a vulture fund for 5.9. Why accept less? Because in this model, certainty matters more than price. The fund is willing to do what others won't. This is where the mistake is made. When you weaponize the law, you assume it will only hurt your enemy. But legal weapons don't know who pulled the trigger. This ruling becomes a poison pill, and it will detonate later. While lawyers count fees, Washington changes posture. In this projection, the administration drops 80 years of euphemism overnight. Defense becomes war. Not because of branding, because of intent. The new doctrine is simple. You are not banks. You are armories. No more stock buybacks. No more financial engineering. If you are not building missiles, you are not getting paid. $1 billion moves instantly into industrial supply chains. Why? Because the model enters fiscal dominance. That phrase means one thing. Debt is now in charge. At $36 trillion, there is no clean exit. No printing, no taxation. Only assets. Hard ones. In this scenario, that asset is the Orinoco Belt. 303 billion barrels of heavy crude. Collateral on a continental scale. The trap is set. Now, the jaws close. A hypothetical operation launches in the Caribbean. Official cover: drug interdiction. Actual objective: the Shadow Fleet. Rusting tankers with transponders dark. Names repainted. Ownership blurred. The target is the Marinera, 2 million barrels, roughly 140 million in value. But she is not alone. Below the thermocline, sonar detects a thermal shadow, an Akula-class submarine. Russian. This is the edge of the map. If a boarding triggers a response, markets do not open tomorrow. The carrier locks fire control radar. The clock starts. 60 seconds. The Russian commander has two options: save a tanker of sludge or start a nuclear war. 30 seconds. The tanker radios for help. 10 seconds. Then the submarine turns away. In this model, Moscow does the math. They fold. The tanker is seized. Then another. Then a third. 6 million barrels total. $420 million. The oil is not destroyed. It is sold. And in this simulation, the fuel used to project power is paid for by the target itself. The regime is now cash-starved. The fleet is gone. The Allies have disengaged. It is time for the terminal phase. Operation Absolute Resolve. This is not an invasion in the traditional sense. No carpet bombing, no leveling the city. Instead, the model deploys a swarm of autonomous systems. They don't fire explosives, they fire electrons. For a narrow window, every radar, every phone, every radio frequency in Caracas goes dark. The army is not defeated. It is erased from the network. While special units breach the palace, a memo circulates through the justice system. In this simulation, it is called the Geyser Memo. Its argument is elegant and dangerous. The president is not declaring war. He is assisting law enforcement. An invasion is reclassified as a police action. 40 minutes later, the head of state is airborne. Mission complete. Or so the model assumes. This is supposed to be the victory lap. Executives are summoned. Pipelines are discussed. Production targets named. 5 million barrels a day. Pay down the debt. The great energy deal. Then the silence. One executive speaks and ends the room. Sir, we can't. Because the weapon used in Delaware still exists. The alter ego ruling was never reversed. There is no liability shield. In this model, any investment made today can be seized tomorrow by creditors from decades ago. The country is legally radioactive, uninvestable. The law achieved total victory and total paralysis. So where does that leave us? In this simulation, the revenue is placed in trust, indefinitely. The cash flow stabilizes the system, briefly. This is the great wealth transfer, not from rich to poor, but from the sovereign south to the imperial north. The model ends with one conclusion. In the future, borders may be suggestions. If you owe the system money, your ships are its ships. Your oil is its collateral. We did not conquer a nation. We liquidated one. The system is fed. The markets are calm. And now that you've seen the simulation, who is next?